Hello and welcome back to Qlik Connect 2026 from lovely Orlando, Florida. I'm Rob Strechay and I'm really excited to be here. This is, the people who know me, this is near and dear to my heart where data and AI meet and really produce ROI, and I get to talk about that with Drew Clarke, who's the EVP of Product and Technology for Qlik, and Juan Hurtado.
Yeah, that's right.
I got it right. That's the
go.
important part of my job. Juan Hurtado, who's the VP of BI and Data Analytics at Ingersoll Rand and an Executive Advisory Board for Qlik. So welcome on board, both of you.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so I mean, fresh off the main stage, this has been a lot of fun. There's a lot of energy going on here, a lot of customers here. What have you seen that has really helped people like kind of ensure that they're getting their insights seen and that they're seeing the product help them move from pilot to production? Because that's what I always get asked is, and data quality and data fragmentation is a big thing around that. And you had a lot of things on the main stage.
I did, and actually I'd love to bring back to a conversation, Juan, you and I had a little over a year ago, and we were talking about AI and the role of generative AI and being able to improve productivity enhancements. And you were very explicit to us to say, look, Qlik, I need you to focus and be the AI agent for the analytics. Don't try to be in all the different aspects. You have a role to play, and your focus, and helped us focus to say, all right, we're going to orient on the business analyst, we're going to orient on the data engineer, building the tools into your factory that you talked about today. But you gave us that advice as part of the advisory board, and we took it to heart. I think
that's right. It for us has been like a journey, right? We have failed and we have learned some hard lessons, right? Lessons like, for example, to make great enterprise-grade AI, you probably need a good mix of unstructured and structured data. The first time we approached this was like, we don't know exactly what we're trying to do, right? We go and pay big money to some consultancy companies to help us build these solutions. What happens is that we see 70% or 80% of that effort being data engineering on the structured data and unstructured data. Then 20% is that really meat of building the AI solution. And then what happens is, 1 month after the solution has been delivered, the application is already obsolete and deprecated. And we are back to data engineering, and the data needs to be updated and so on. So when we started to think, hey, how do we get out of this valley of death, right? That everyone is talking about 95% of all the enterprise grade AI failing. And we said, look, one thing for sure is stay close to the data gravity of your data and BI platforms. Qlik was there for us. We started to look at, how do we make conversational analytics and good agents out of the data that we already curated, and we didn't need all these data engineering efforts, right?
Yeah. So not starting from scratch, but
yes,
starting ahead with already where you had that data gravity.
That's right.
Right. I mean, to me, that seems like how do you get past dashboards and get to, really decision automation, right? And you were talking about it on stage earlier today. It's like, it's not about just having yet another dashboard, although it can help do that to, represent data, but it's more talking with the data and bringing it to life.
We like to say that our users are quickly evolving. They will very soon become not only dashboard consumers, but what they're looking is really to have an AI-powered solution that can really become their own analytics business partner, right? And that's what you achieve when you combine the data platform, the data gravity of the business intelligence solution, and the AI capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, it was the example you were showing on stage around fall risk and things like that was very much, it's not about just having a dashboard, it's actionable insights into this that then are powered and keep going on. Are you seeing that organizations are really looking for insight-led innovation from that perspective?
Well, what they're showing, and you said this one earlier, was you have 1,500 professionals who are using data to do their job to be able to get to the outcome. And what you've done is powered them or given them the AI to do their job more efficiently and effectively. And I thought that just captured really well of it's beyond dashboards. Actually, the logic, and you talked about the business logic that goes into the curation, the management, the pipelines that feed it, and now opening it up into that new environment really gets you to the actions, the decisions, and that's where value comes.
And I like to think that the people that we have for a long time trained, right, that are now knowledgeable about our data, the domain knowledge, understand patterns, are outperforming the specialists on the field, right? And so we, with the help of AI, of course, right? So we are unlocking this power of our institutional knowledge that lives with the data practitioners, and now they're using that with a lot of creativity and innovation and applying AI, and now giving a speed and velocity to decision making and so on. Right?
So do you have key design principles that help you steer people so that they really make it repeatable and so that they can really lean into this as they go, as you're learned?
We call it the AI factory, right? So it is a principle of like, we want a, let's say, somehow a standardized composable architecture where parts of that architecture lies on the fact that we respect the data gravity of the Lakehouse, we respect the semantic layers that have been built painstakingly within Qlik, right? We respect some basic principles of how we treat the unstructured data and the structured data, because that's all what is going to accelerate the speed of delivery of the solutions without making every single solution a point-to-point solution or something where it's going to create technical debt very quickly, right?
Yeah, I mean, that to me, that's actually, you hit on kind of a key point that came up on the main stage this morning as well around the Lakehouse and the fact that organizations, when we look at it, they have maybe 50% of their data in SQL databases, maybe 20% in Snowflake, another 20% in a Databricks, and then here and there and all over the place kind of thing. When you look at the Lakehouse architecture, and Qlik is leaning into Iceberg, which I think is perfect, and we also see that definitely has won. I think, and is that really one of the things, like you said, so you're not replicating, you don't have the cost of replicating that data all over the place. Is that one of the things that's a key too?
It is. We, for example, in Ingersoll Rand, we are multi-cloud in principle, right? Now, in reality, it's like we have some of the data, like IoT in one platform, some of the transactional in another. The way we are creating interoperability is, for example, with Iceberg tables between these platforms, trying to work on the bleeding edge of like these technologies. And now that Qlik is like fully native support to Iceberg tables, like that's going to help us accelerate a lot
you talked about that. Maybe this is where you're going around, there's a medallion architecture, bronze to get into the silver, gold, and then the diamond. And you're going to have to like trademark this, the Goldilocks zone, the Goldilocks zone where you're combining everything together. But that's where, we're seeing a lot of customers, it's, all right, you put that architecture for scale, but you have to recognize that data sits in different places, and we're set up to be interoperable. We want to be interoperable. Don't create a monolith of everything. Have the data where it needs to be, make it accessible, kind of bring it back just right, like Goldilocks.
That's right, and try to avoid the dead ends from a data standpoint. Interoperability, design patterns are key. That's what we are seeing, like, that the repeatability and the maintenance of the solution is sitting on that, let's say, Goldilocks zone of.
I would assume that also helps when you go to other parts of Ingersoll Rand with this that may have not been the first ones in on this and are still figuring out their use cases or their processes that they want to bring into AI, but being able that they don't have to go retool everything and go and consolidate
those architectural patterns and let's say AI factory help us do something that has been preached for a long time. You prototype quick, you do POCs quickly, you prototype quick, and then you scale to enterprise grade. You scale small, right? Typically within a single business unit and a single geography. When things are working, when people feel that a solution can be trusted, then you quickly use the same pattern, the same architecture to expand to other business units.
So when you look at this, I mean, again, being multi-cloud by design or, on purpose, when you start to look at governance. Now, a lot of people think of governance as a bad word because it slows you down and stuff like that. But it's also, we were just talking, with James about this, about the fact that you got to go slow to go fast sometimes, and having those things in place. How do you see, and how does Qlik help you really have that governance and control in that kind of really multi-cloud environment that may have a lot of different people that are not within your span of control from that perspective?
It's a great question, and I think governance was a word that we for a long time struggled a lot to, communicate at executive level, because basically it's almost like saying, hey, we want to be the data cops, right? And you don't want to be the data cop. But AI has facilitated the discussion. Now it's very clear that you need great quality, great governance to make AI work the way it's supposed to be and trusted. And here is where we, with an architecture that is multi-cloud in nature, where we have a medallion architecture that span across different systems, is where you could rely on tools that are interoperable, are powered by AI, because there's like this almost like a virtuous circle of like you have governance, you let AI assess your data quality and governance, AI help you get better, and it almost like starts to create its own like self-healing and self-improving solution, right, for governance. So.
Well, and you think about, I was thinking about as you talk about that governance, and then you layer in, you said you had 70 ERPs, but you do how many acquisitions like a year?
That's a consequence of acquisitions, right? We do an acquisition on average once a month, right?
Once a month?
Yeah,
now you think about the data architecture, and what you're doing, creating your factory, the governance, and every month you have a new company coming in that you have to integrate and bring that data together.
With its own like cultural and historical background, right? The way that metrics were interpreted differently, and so we gotta build like this almost serialized process to bring integrations into our data state. Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that it helps that you can bring that semantic knowledge into the tool as well, because when you have the meaning for the data and that becomes standardized, so revenue means revenue. It doesn't, there's not, every acquisition now gets standardized on that semantic layer, and you're able to then, because public company, you have a lot of reporting and all of this fun jazz that the SEC regulates and stuff. So
it is from master data to the way that every acquisition or every business unit sees the world, different geography hierarchies, different leadership reporting structures, different product lines, and the way that product hierarchies are. It's something that you contextualize things to solutions like Qlik or AI, powered by AI, and make sure that at the end like everything is getting aggregated and makes sense for global solutions as well as like localized solutions.
So as we kind of come to the end of this, my last question to both of you is, when we're sitting here a year from now, what do you hope to say that you can't say today that you want to say by next year?
So the velocity from event to outcome compresses, so it speeds up, and that companies are able to get competitive advantage using our platform, of course, because of that velocity and that loop of event to decision to action gets faster and faster and powered by our solutions.
It's very similar. I think, as a segue to what Drew mentioned, is we would love to see our entire data champions community that today may feel behind on like, I'm in the AI wagon or not. I've been like a traditional AI or data citizen. We would like to see them empowered, like feeling like an AI experts, being able to develop at the speed of AI experts thanks to the commoditization of these technologies that platforms like Qlik brings to the table, right? We want to see everyone empowered and kind of like an army of AI people that we just need to upskill a little bit, right, and get them with the platform.
All right, so that was pretty cool. I did the technical answer, and you did the people kind of side. So inspiring.
I love both of those answers. I think, again, I'm hoping for that, and I want an update on that, because I think that is a big piece of it, is bringing everybody there and leveling the playing field. And I think AI can do that, is to help to level the playing field for a lot of different people. And I'm looking forward to that too. And I think you need a strong platform to do it. So, and I love what you're doing in the platform. So,
thank you.
Drew, Juan, thanks for coming on board.
So much
and we'll see you back here next time.
Good deal. Thank you.
But don't you go away, because we have more to come from Qlik Connect 2026 live from Orlando. We'll be back shortly.
Thank you.